character, that you played for all those years. But it seemed to kind of come full circle for you in a way.
That was an interesting story. It was an interesting challenge for me. I've never been comfortable really mixing my faith with my work on the show. But Ellen came to me and talked to me about it and said, what we're really interested in exploring is sort of the idea that somebody has a religious epiphany of some kind and tries to enter into this world of I don't know what you'd call it, of devotion, I guess, but how his human side continues to work against him. Which is, I think, how things are in life. I mean, I didn't have a lot of detailed discussions with writers or producers, but the few times that I would talk with a new head writer or something that came in, I would say the couple things I would say would be, one, don't put me in a box that Josh is just the good guy who always does the right thing all the time. I think we're pretty flawed as human beings, and I think we all do things that we all find ourselves in situations we wish we weren't in, and we think, how did I ever get here? But I think this is the human condition. This is what we do. And so I didn't want Josh to always be the guy who was always doing everything right. And I also said, and I would also say there should be consequences to action. When something does happen, when he's in a relationship he shouldn't be in or something like that, we should see the consequences to that, because in life there are consequences, sometimes forced consequences and sometimes natural consequences. But, this to me is life, and this is how we live it in real life. So don't put him so high up on a pedestal as being the hero or the good guy, or, I want him to fall, and I want him to, experience difficulty and struggle and, be in those situations where you're facing a couple of potential paths to walk down, and you choose the wrong path, or you choose the less healthy path, and then you're trying to find your way back from that. I think that's what we do in life. And we learn from that experience, and we move forward, and then we fall backward again, and we move forward again, and that's kind of what I liked about Joshua. I never thought of him particularly as a good guy. I just think of him as a guy. That's how I always thought of him.
Yeah, as a normal person. What storyline, or what do you miss most about playing Josh?
I don't know. That's an interesting way you phrase that, because I don't think what I miss is playing Josh. I played a lot of great characters since I left Guiding Light, on stage, on prime time. I've had a lot of great experiences in playing different kinds of roles. And one of the great challenges of long-term soap opera acting is that you're playing the same character for such a long time. But I really do miss the community that we had, that I would, include the fans in. That there was this community of actors and camera people and makeup and hair and sound and producers and directors and writers, and we all, these people were all a long-term part of my life. And every day there would be, this one's kid graduated from college, this one over here, they just got married, oh, they're going to have a baby, oh, they're going to be twins, oh, we were constantly sharing these real life events amongst ourselves and celebrating those things, and in some cases mourning those things. Larry Gates' death was a pretty big thing for me. That was a pretty big turning point in my life when Larry passed away, and that part of it I really miss.
Yeah, your extended family.
I think about right now the last day of shooting in PPAC. A lot of people there. A lot of people came who weren't necessarily working because they wanted to be there on the last day. But one image that comes to mind is that Grant Alexander, who, he and I have had a friendship all these years, and he's a great guy, a wonderful actor. He had this thing where he had brought several bottles of tequila with him.
Oh, my gosh.
And each time somebody finished a scene, he would be standing there with a shot glass and a lemon and a lime, I think, and salt. Yeah. And you take take your shot of tequila and your lime, and that's the kind of thing I think about. When those are the kind of memories about Guiding Light that really make me smile. The stuff, a lot of it was stuff that happened off camera.
Yeah.
The stuff that I miss on camera, just working with such extraordinary people. And the thing that I think about a lot is there were so many times when things happened that weren't planned, that weren't really on the page, And I think Kim and I did a lot of this, and I think that that's part of what made it so extraordinary, and not necessarily rewritten dialogue or paraphrased anything, but just moments that were completely and utterly unexpected that would happen, I think in many ways only in this format, where you're shooting so fast, there's so limited rehearsal, you don't really know how a scene's going to go, and in some of the most heavy emotional scenes that Kim and I shared together, there was no point in rehearsing, really. You just had to dive in and go for it, and you really didn't know where it was going to go. We didn't. There was no way to rehearse the fountain scene. Let's use that as an example. There was no way to rehearse that scene. You just had to. She had to literally jump in and go for it, and it came out perfectly. And now I do, some work on primetime shows, and boy, you can work on one scene for 5 hours, and you're on take 15, take 20, take 25, and and still great things can come out of that. But there was something that was sort of like a high wire act about working on daytime that I think is unique to that medium, that is truly extraordinary.
Now, I would think that as far as the primetime and the daytime, did you feel at some point in doing primetime that you would pull your hair out because they took so long to do a scene?
Yes. It sounds glamorous because they put you up in this trailer, well, like a third of a trailer, but they put you in a trailer and you got your own. It's like really cool. But boy, I got to tell you, I get bored out of my head. I mean,
I can imagine.
Because they're setting up the shot, and then they take the first master shot, and they send you back to the trailer. Then they reset it for other angles. You come out, you do it again. You come out, you do it again. I mean, it just. And, I would be like, God, we'd be, halfway through the show by now, and we haven't even finished one scene. So, yeah, that drives me a little crazy. On the other hand, I really have been embracing the work on stage that I've been doing. And there's been a lot of it, and it's been great. I've really loved it. And I've realized with the stage work, one of the things that I really miss is really rehearsing something.
Right.
Where you have 2 weeks, which doesn't sound like a long time, but 2 weeks to put together Man of La Mancha, for instance, But 2 weeks seems like a long time now, because we did stuff so fast on the soap. But it's nice to, really be able to work through a scene and try it in 3 or 4 different ways and, find different paths and work with a good director and get, we had some great directors on Guiding Light, but the enemy of soap opera is always time. It's time, and money. And money,
that's
which is
the big one.
basically the same thing. And you guys probably already know, most of your viewers already know that by the time we got towards the end of Guiding Light and the last 2 years, when we were shooting in PPAC and in the studio, by that time they had also done away with rehearsal. Completely done away with rehearsal. There was 0 rehearsal. You and I would walk onto a set together. The director would say, okay, you're going to be behind the desk. You're going to be over here walking in the door. You're going to come over to here. You guys are going to talk this way. You're going to stand up, leave. You're going to turn into camera, and let's go. Boom. And we roll tape, and we do the scene.
Well, it's a good thing you guys had good memories. Because, them telling you that last minute, my gosh, that's got to be frightening at times, oh, am I going to remember? But I think as soap actors especially have great memories because of all the lines they have to learn on a daily basis.
Well,
and in the long term, that becomes a second nature thing, too, because you get to know the characters so well, and, writers begin to write for you, I think, the longer that you're on a show. And there was paraphrasing that went on. There were times when you had to paraphrase your way out of a moment in a scene, and they'd rather have you do that than stop
there
and
saying
do a
nothing.
retake. Yeah. Time. It was all time.
Right.
Well, I have to commend you because, I did not realize that was the way things were filmed. There was no rehearsal prior to there at the very end, and that's just a real testament to the cast and how good you were and how well you knew each other. It really was told to tale, to not know that. It still was believable, and the average viewer would have never known that. So that is quite incredible.
Well, that makes me feel better. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we do have some callers on hold that would like to speak to you. Would you mind taking a few? Okay,
no,
thank
fine.
you. And I do believe that this is Rachel. Rachel, is this you?
Hi, Pam. Hi, how's it going?
Okay, Robert, this is our caller from Australia.
Wow. I want to come
Robert.
visit.
How are you going?
I want to come visit. I was just saying to a friend of mine the other day, I still haven't been to Australia. I need to go to Australia, but I want to go there and work for a few weeks. But I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. We would love to have you here anytime you would like to come.
Okay. Well, right after the holidays. Let's make sure we get your home address, and I'll be showing up at your front door right after the holidays.
That would be a dream come true. So
God, I love your accent. I love your accent.
I do too.
Well, I think you guys have the accent, so
Of course.
Yeah.
Robert, it's a great honour to speak with you. Guiding Light has never actually aired in Australia, but I'm a huge soaps fan, and I watch all of the soaps. I mean, we have several of them here, the US ones, we have UK ones, we have our own ones. But I just love watching as much stuff of the US ones that we didn't have online, and that's how I discovered yourself and Kim and this fantastic thing that both of you have. So I just wanted to ask you a quick question about the ending of Guiding Light, and I just wanted to know, first of all, if you can give us some memories of shooting that last scene with Kim at the lighthouse, and also do you think the ending for Josh and Reva, and also for yourself and Kim, do you think that it followed all the rites of passage and everything that you wanted it to be? I mean, I think it's just such a beautiful scene, and it's fantastic, like the iconography with the lighthouse and everything. I just would be really interested to get your thoughts on that.
We shot that scene. That actually wasn't the last day of shooting. We had shot out of order. And we went down to a beach in New Jersey, and I want to say I think it was called Sandy Hook, but I'm thinking that's also the name of the place yesterday in Connecticut where all the stuff went down. But so I might be mixing that up. But we went out there that day, and we knew that we were shooting the very last scene of the show, and there was there's always sort of odd technical things that go on, and one of them was that car was an amazing car to climb into for the end, and we had that kid with us. I remember how weird it was that we had Jeffrey's kid with us.
Yeah.
and climbing into the car with this, was there a car seat? I don't remember. Was there a car seat in there? But it was like we were all crammed into this little tiny car. So this is the sort of unromantic response to your question, which is it had all the weirdness of taping that was going on. But I did look at that last show and that last scene, and it did seem like a pretty amazing finish. For Kim and I, the really emotional stuff happened, I think, not necessarily on that day of shooting. I think it was really our last scene that we shot in PPAC, and I can't even tell you what that was. I know it must have been aired a couple days before that final show, and it was a scene in front of the cabin, but I don't remember exactly what the scene was. But the shooting out on the beach, it was like there really was this sense like, wow, there's this huge thing coming to an end that I had put 28 years of my life into, Kim 26 or whatever she had put into it, and all these people around us. There were, I know a lot of people who were also in that day came out to watch us shoot that final scene because they knew that this was the end of something pretty huge, Not only the last scene for Josh and Reva, but the final scene for the longest running show.